need to feed Myrtle. And Myrtle is my baby starter that I started a whole year ago this month. She's having her 1 year celebratory breakfast birthday. And so Myrtle is first off, we're gonna say how crusty and dusty does her jar look. This is after 5 days. Right, 5 days. And I scraped my sides down, but I did bake with her. So her jar needs to be changed because no one likes a crusty jar. So what I do, and lots of people have different ways to do this, but this is what I do. And so I feel like this is the most complicated part, or like a tricky part. What is discard, right? And so people get it confused. And so discard is basically inactive starter, right? It means this is very liquidy and it needs to be fed. Smells delicious, but needs to be fed, right? And so I feed Myrtle every 24 hours. And so I feed based on what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple days. So I leave Myrtle on my counter, but I also have discard, which is in my refrigerator in a sealed jar. And it's in my refrigerator in a sealed jar because just in case something happens to Myrtle and she dies, right? If I forget about her and she dies, I can still bring life to my discard that's in my refrigerator. I could also take this discard and add it to what's in the refrigerator and continue to build up my discard because there's lots of recipes that call for inactive starter. I could also, because I already have enough in my refrigerator, just dump this away, which is kind of wasteful, but it is what it is, right? So I'm going to, right now, I'm gonna dump some of this out because I don't need this much inactive starter right now. So hold the line. Okay, so I am changing out her jar. So I have another clean jar, which I pre-measure ahead of time so that I know how much the jar weighs and then how much I'm putting in, and then I subtract and I get how much is in my jar. So I know I have, my jar is 1100 and I only need to have 50 grams of starter in here. So I'm just gonna pour 50 grams. And some people do all different amounts, right? So depending on how much you're baking and what you're gonna be using. So like I know I probably will only be baking one more loaf this, in the next couple of days. So I'm gonna feed, because the more you have in here, that means the more flour you're gonna use. And if you're not really using it, it's kind of wasting flour. Okay, so that is that. Now I have my 50 grams of starter in here. And I'm gonna add 50 grams of the very best King Arthur bread flour. And then I'm gonna add 50 grams of water that I use from my refrigerator, distilled water. Some people use bottled water. I don't typically trust my sink water. This is what works for me always, and so I don't like veer off of that. So let me get some water. Okay, so I have my 50 grams of water. I'm gonna pour into here using my scale method. People use grams, cups or whatever. I just use the grams. So I'm gonna take it off my scale so that I could stir it, and it gets like a nice cakey pancake batter mixture. So that's what I like it to be, the texture. I just scrape down my sides because I really don't like I don't like yucky sides. I'm just gonna add a little bit more because it looks a little dry. Okay, and so now this is what's going to eventually, in a couple of hours, will become an active starter, but not yet right now. So I can't bake with this right now, but what I can do is leave it on my counter, cover it, and then in a couple hours it'll be active, and if I want to, I could start baking with it. Otherwise, it's good till tomorrow. And now I don't have to do anything with it until tomorrow, just cover it and call it a day. So hopefully I explained it pretty good. And I'm trying to not make it so complicated, but there you go. So get your King Arthur flour and feed your starter. All right, have a good day.